Good
There
afternoon,
we go.
everybody. Here we are. Yes, hi. So this is Brenda Harrelson. I'm with the technology training team here at KWRI in Austin. Thank you so much for being here. This is our weekly webinar. We do a webinar every Monday, and the fourth Monday of each month is always a special one. That's where we put a spotlight on one of our superstars in the field, so you don't just get to hear from us here, but you get to hear from some great success stories out there. And today I am very excited to bring you Brad Korn. He is going to talk to you about how to turn your database into an ATM because he has done that. He has years and years of experience. He's an esteemed member of the Keller Williams University Master Faculty. He leads the Korn team in Independence, Missouri, and he's also a successful technology coach helping others really look at the database, which is your book of business, regardless of what system you use, what CRM you're using to manage your database. Hopefully you've got something so that you are able to keep track of all of the relationships that you have. And today you're going to learn how that is such a rich source of business. So you don't have to worry so much about marketing out to the masses as much as you really should be working your database to bring you new business. So welcome, Brad.
Hey, glad to be on the call today.
We're
You're
glad to
keeping
have
me
you.
busy. Yes,
Keeping you
yes.
busy. All right. Well, I'm going to hand the reins over to Brad here so he can show you his presentation from his side. So we should.
Oh, you know what? I just realized I don't have the slides up on my side, so I was looking at your slides, thinking I could just run them from there.
Okay.
I think you can actually pull it back up and give me mouse controls if that doesn't take more than a couple seconds to do.
Let's try
Sorry about
that.
that.
That's okay. It wouldn't be a technology webinar without some technology
Hey,
bumps.
yeah, we like to test it.
How does that work?
All right, yeah, it looks like I've got it now.
All right,
Uh,
great.
Click on that.
That
See, yep.
works.
There we go. All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, I am actually super thrilled to be with you guys today because this is one of my passions that I love to talk about, and it's turning your database into an ATM machine. Here's what we're going to learn in today's webinar, and I have packed it. I got 40 slides in 30 minutes, and I want to give you 5 minutes to ask questions at the end. So, like any typical Brad Korn webinar, we're gonna give you as much information packed in 30 minutes as we can. However, it's really pretty simple. It's 4 steps that you're going to get at the very end. So we're going to talk about why your database is a gold mine, just kind of set the stage for that, how to identify the missed opportunities that you guys have in your business right now, and then the best part is how to capitalize on that so you don't have to keep missing them because I do know, and I think I've got this in a slide, it cost me $50,000 to the bottom line the 6 months it took me to finally get this thing in place. So the way I look at it is every 6 months is going to cost you about 50 grand, and that's if you're in a low price range market like myself. If you're in San Diego, it could be $500,000. I don't know. And then at the very end, I'm going to give you just a simple 4-step plan that you can put in place. Remember, I said it's simple. Nothing's easy when you're doing anything new, but it is so simple that if you will just commit to get this thing in place, it will actually find you business like in the next 30 days. I got plenty of people on the call that have been through it as well, so they know exactly what we're talking about. Let's see if I can get this to go here. Advance. Advance. I might have lost my advancement. I'm on the slide. There we go. So that's what we're going to learn. Here's why I want you to learn this. Today is my 4-year anniversary with my wife, Sonia, that was in a car accident back in March of January of 2015. We've been married 16 years. We got married on Leap Day. So I thought I was being smart that I only had to remember our wedding anniversary once every 4 years. However, I did know that what came with that was if I ever forgot it, it was going to be 4 times the wrath, right? Well, in March, my wife was in an accident and head-on collision, and that put her into the hospital, and I think I'm still not getting an advancement here. We'll advance to the next one. And She recovered from that accident. It took about 12-week recovery. Her head-on collision pushed her femur bone through her hip socket, had major hip surgery, was off her feet for 12 weeks. Well, we kept her off her feet for about 8 weeks, and she was like running around the house without crutches, and we were all yelling at her. But within about 10 or 11 weeks, she was completely healed from that car accident. But then on June 23rd, she just didn't wake up one day. And I didn't get to talk to her again after June 23rd of 2015. It took until November 5th of last year for us to realize we could not get her out of this anoxic brain injury coma and that we weren't going to get her back. I mean, not even, there's no Sonia there. Her body was working, functioning, opens eyes, looks around, coughed a lot, but her brain just was so damaged from no oxygen from flatlining on the hospital that June 23rd, and we just couldn't get her back. Okay, next slide. And so I can't leave this one up for very long or she really will haunt me or something. But today is our 4-year anniversary / 16 years we would have been married. Got married in Jamaica on a beach, and that bottom picture there kind of shows a picture of what she really was like. She's the life of the party. She was everybody's friend. So the why of today is that I hope the message that you guys will get from this is get out of your comfort zone as quickly as possible. You never, ever know what's going to happen in life and what cards you're going to be dealt one day. And the fact that I have always been pushed out of my comfort zone by Tony DeCello and Gary Keller and Diana and Jay Papazon and everybody in the leadership of this company and everybody else that I haven't named, all my other coaches throughout the years and all that stuff, that they keep pushing you out of your comfort zone, because when you're out of your comfort zone, when bad things happen, it sucks you back down to normal or average, where if you're always at your comfort zone, which it's real easy to stay at your comfort zone, guys, but when bad things happen, it sucks you down to uncomfortable zone. And the last thing I needed to be worried about was whether or not my house payment was made. I mean, I was getting calls from everybody wanting to help. To be honest with you, my system was running and my database was churning out business, so my house payment was made. My car payments were made. There was food on the table, and plus a lot of other food that everybody brought us, which was great support. But the point is get yourself above comfortable so that when bad things happen, you're at comfortable. Now, the fun part is, when we go to the next slide, is that you can do this with your database, okay? This is why your database is such a gold mine, because in the MREA stuff, the database is our business, and that's just what it's so fortunate. That's the one thing that I grabbed onto, because I do think pretty simply, if you know me well. I'm a pretty simple guy, and I was like, okay, I can do this. If I could just make friends and then have some system remind me to call them again, to follow up with them, then I like that, because if I have to remember to do something, it isn't going to happen. But if I set up a system to remind me to do something, I'll do it all day long. Okay, next slide. Sorry you have to advance that for me, Brenda, but I'm glad you're here to help. So what we're going to talk about is turning your database into an ATM machine, and it all comes back to the MREA model of the bullseye, okay? Now, here's the way the industry works right now, is we've been taught our whole lives as realtors to go get the next piece of business, go get the next piece of business, go get the next piece of business. And that's why we market a lot to the general public, and we have targeted neighborhood groups. We're going to dominate a neighborhood, or we're going to get a web lead generation site that's just going to, funnel us all kinds of internet leads. So we've all been focusing in these outer two rings. The outer two rings, if you look down at the bottom where it says 12 direct, remember, 12 touch gets you a 50-to-1 return. Those inner rings where you're on an 8x8 and a 33 touch, where you've met somebody, you've connected with them, you could write them a note, you have a two-way conversation, that kind of stuff, the return on that is 12-to-2. So you got a 50-to-1 or a 12-to-2 return. Well, 12-to-2 ratio is 8 times more than 50-to-1. So all I did was start from the inside of the circle and work out. So next slide, Brenda. And what it's about, it's not about met and haven't met. And one thing I realized when I was coaching real estate agents, that we were putting all these met people in our databases on 8x8s and 33 touches, especially when E-Edge came out. It was the ultimate database for automated follow-up systems because Market Leader is good at mass capturing internet content or internet leads and bringing people in by the thousands, right? What we tried to do was merge a relationship-based follow-up system with a mass capture back end. And here's what I figured out. It's really about connected and not connected. And this is why I say this, because a lot of agents, when Edge came out, our sales went up because there were so many people not doing any follow-up with their database at all, right? Some of you may feel like your database is a little out of control right now. We're going to get that lined up for you in 4 steps at the end of the call. But the thing is that past clients in your database that you haven't talked to for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or even a year, or even 6 months, they're not Mets anymore. But we always thought they were Mets because we met them. We obviously met them to sell a house, so we put them on an 8x8 and a 33 touch. And we put them on all 33 touch email drip campaign. So all email didn't work. And putting people that we met but we're not connected with didn't work. So what's working to get a 12-to-2 return? That means 2 pieces of business for every 12 people is getting connected first, then following up with them 8 times in 8 weeks and 33 times a year, or whatever the number is. It's not so much that one number. But stop putting people that you haven't actually connected with and had a decent 2-way conversation with. If you can't write them a handwritten note, they're probably not a connection, right? So next slide. Sorry about that. It's about when you connect with somebody, then they start to trust you. They like you, whatever it might be. Like when we walk into a mall and a salesperson walks up and says, hey, how may I help you? You're like, if any of you are found in a mall, I find most successful realtors, if they're in a mall, they need to get in and out of there pretty quick, right? So the salesperson walks up, how may I help you? You say, I'm just looking. Yet you're a really busy, successful realtor that needs to get in and out of there as quickly as possible. If that same salesperson walked up and said, hey, you look like you're in a little bit of a hurry, can I help you get out of here a little faster? That salesperson becomes your favorite salesperson of all time because you're like, yes, you can. I just need a belt. Great, let me take you back to the belts. Now, on the way, they're probably going to sell you 3 or 4 extra things if they're good, right? But you trust them because they paid attention to you when you walked in. The other thing is positive interactions. I mean, sending an email back, waiting for somebody to respond back to even know if there's a live person, there's no interaction there. And positive is when you're talking to people you know and they like you and trust you and you have 2-way conversations about them and their family, it's a positive interaction, right? And then consistency. This in our industry is where we drop the ball because we don't do anything consistently. We talk to people once and then we kind of wait for them to call us back. And all of that, when you do that, it builds your credibility. When you say you're going to call them in a couple of weeks and you do, that builds credibility. But the system tells me the call's going to come up in 2 weeks. So I can tell them, hey, I'm going to give you a call in a couple of weeks and see how things are going. They're like, oh, okay. Well, in 2 weeks when I call, credibility's there. And then when you have a system running, you can just be yourself, okay? The coolest thing about this is by the 3rd or 4th time that you talk to somebody, you don't have to use the script. Hey, this is Brad Korn with Keller Williams. I'm calling today to see if you have a couple minutes to give me some help. No, you just call and say, hey, it's Brad. Hey, Brad, what's up? You know, because they've been talking to you. Okay, next slide. And we're going to kind of start trucking through these. You just start advancing the slide about every, I don't know, 20 seconds or so. We're going to keep moving because the information here is pretty basic. So what you need to know about missed opportunities, right here you'll see that the NAR statistics say that one seller will talk to, or sellers will talk to one agent 76% of the time and hire them. They'll talk to 2 agents 18% of the time and hire them. So there's like a 92% chance that if you're the 1 or 2 agents that are sitting there talking to a seller, they're going to hire you to list their house, right? So when you start thinking about that mind share, and you can go ahead and go to the next one, when you start thinking about that mind share, it really is about building that trust and everything in there. So look at these scary numbers, you guys. I almost hate to scare you on this day like this, but if you had according to NAR, if a person is moving every 7 years and you have 100 people in your database, or you know 100 people, if everybody's moving every 7 years, and that means 15 people are moving in the next 12 months, that's 1 sale a month. Now, many of you on the call might be doing 15 sales a month, and you think, hey, that's pretty good, right? But if you, 100 people in your database is a really low database. Gary's got a challenge out there for us to have 3,000 to 5,000 people in our database. Now, I'm going to break that down even more simple. If you added 5 people a day, which we're going to talk about that in a minute, but 5 people a day is way more than 100 people. If you have 1,000 people in your database, you could be doing 142 sales a month, 12 a month, okay? So look at those numbers and think about it. When you're a top agent that's been feeding your database with people you come in contact with every day, all day for years, this is just probably about 5 years, 6 years. Well, most top agents haven't even been doing it quite completely right yet. But in 5 to 10 years, you could have 5,000 people in your database that you know. I'm not talking about past clients. I'm talking about people you know because everybody's moving every 7 years, right? But if 5,000 people are in your database and they're moving every 7 years, that's 714 transactions a year, 60 transactions a month, okay, Brenda? So think about that. That's one of these big agents. We got these top agents in this company that are doing 300, 400, 500 transactions a year. Guys, it's not rocket science. It's just about feeding your database with everybody you come in contact with every day, not necessarily just the next deal. Let me make one little caveat here. This system works with whatever you're currently doing. Keep doing everything that you've been doing. However you're getting leads, however you're getting business, whatever you're doing to market, keep doing that. But when you add these steps in and you add this database piece and start adding everybody in that you get connected with versus the next deal, that's when your database grows. So 5 a day, 5 days a week, 25 people a week, 100 people a month, that's 1,200 people you could be adding to your database every single year. Now remember, I'm not talking about 5 people a day who are thinking about buying or selling, because everybody's going to buy or sell over the next 7 years. So everybody you meet from now on. If you're going through bold, gosh, guys, take all 100 people every week and put them in your database and write 100 handwritten notes. 100 contacts gets 3 listing appointments during bold is like the average that I see. But those other 97 people are all going to buy houses over the next 7 years. Get them in your database and stay in relationship with them, and you won't have to go find them later or hope that you find them on the right year. So 1,200 people added to your database every year for the next 5 years. If you just make this a 5-year commitment, 6,000 people in your database. I wonder where Gary got that number from. It's the top agents that are doing it. In 5 years, you can go to the next one. 5 years, 6,000 people in your database. That means 857 people are moving every single year if you're going off the 7-year statistic, okay? Next slide. Guys, that's 857 deals a year every year for the next 7 years on just putting people in your database for 5 years. And I know many of you on this call are not getting out of real estate in 5 years. 10 years down the road, 1,700 deals a year, and by then, you're probably not even working in the business. That will support a business that you would be able to live off of, retire off of, have increased income every year while you're in retirement, while giving other people a lifestyle they never would have had, okay? Next one. So this is what it all really comes down to, is how do we capitalize on our database? So the first thing, this original core system came from the book E-Myth Revisited. I'm going to challenge you to grab this book off your bookshelf. I've been asking a lot of people about this because I just contracted with Michael Gerber. Him and I are going to write E-Myth Real Estate Agent. Just had a call with Jay Papazon. He's helping me out with the book side of it to make sure that this book is unbelievable. And I got to tell you that all I really did was implement the E-Myth Revisited system. It's about delivering or building an extraordinary system that even if you have average people working with you, they deliver extraordinary service. Now in Keller Williams, we're taught to hire talented people. So when you have an extraordinary system with talented people plugged in, it's unbelievable. Those numbers I showed you are the low end of what can happen, okay? 1,700 deals a year. So if your business isn't growing, it's dying. That means if you do not feed your database new people every single day, every single day, every single day, you're technically dying. That's Michael Gerber's words, right? And he's right. So capitalize on your database. It's about building what I want you to look at is the campaigns and the action plans, and build an automated series of events to remind you to stay in touch with them all the time, every time throughout the year, right? So it's a series of events. It happens one day after the plan starts, 30 days after the plan starts, 6 months after the plan starts, a call pops up and reminds you to make that call. And also mix up the way you touch people. Make it some letters, very little email, some postcards, personal touches, text messages. The more personal touches you put in there are going to get you a 10 times return. And you can customize, look at your database, see if you can customize who it's even assigned to. That's more of an advanced feature, but I could set up a series of events, go ahead to the next slide, 33 things to happen over the next year, and I don't have to remember that it's going to happen every 11 days. The system takes care of it. Biggest thing I can tell you here is make sure you mix up the mediums for your follow-up. I'm giving you a lot of information here. We're going to pull it all together in 4 simple steps. Plus, you can go back and review this webinar too. So mix up your mediums. You want to hit them from email, text, postcard. They could even see you on a billboard or a bus bench. And I mean, use your money wisely. Use red light, green light. Track your return on investment. Get your $3 to $5, and I look for $10 return. Okay, next slide. But mix up the way you touch people. So here's a sample of what an automated plan might look like on an 8x8, which, for me, any person that I meet throughout the day that I have a two-way conversation with goes into my database onto an 8x8 plan. They get a handwritten note from me. That is the very first filter. If I can write a note that says, hey, it was great talking to you today, and I can drop that in the mail, which means I've mastered getting their address out of them by conversational, talking, conversation, not saying, hey, can I have your address so I can send you 8 things in 8 weeks? No, I have conversations with people. I connect with them. I'm listening to them, their family. And then one day after, a letter goes out. 8 days it could be an email. 15 days later, another letter. And then 22 days later, after I've met this person, I'm not thinking about them necessarily on day 22 until their name shows up in my dashboard and says, hey, it's time to call this person. So 4 weeks after we meet, you get a call, and so on. It goes all the way through. Okay, next one. Oh, also, there's always a step in an action plan to start the next plan, okay? All right, so here's some special tips, too. I'm just throwing you some bonus stuff because this is what I love to do is overwhelm your brain. I love to make your brain hurt so bad that I give you so much information, but really, underneath, I hope that you see how simple it is to do it, that I get you so excited about your database like you've never been before, that you'll want to come back and get this information and understand it. Because remember, I'm going to leave you with the 4 simple steps. That's the main thing you need to get out of today. But special tips on action plans. We always have that extra step that the plan has ended, start the next plan. It's called a to-do that pops up. So I look at my calls every day and I look at my to-dos every day, and I sit in my computer or with a list, and throughout the day I make sure those 2 things get done. Start people on plans that ended and make the calls. Have 3 different plans, because I know you've got some people where you just got email and no address. Again, I hate that plan. I hate's a strong word, but I hate all email plans. They don't work. We've all tried them. They do not work, right? So I don't like them, but if all I've got is an email, I'm going to put them on that drip because I've connected with them, so they're not going to delete me to spam as easily as a total stranger. But we have an all email plan, an all mail plan, and then the best plan is a mail and email plan that's mixed, and it's got a lot of personal touches built in. One other little tip, depending on your database, you can go to the next slide, is have your letterhead built into it. Okay, so here I want to give you the 4-step plan. Man, I have given you guys the rocket version of turning your database into a gold mine. And this was actually a big challenge for me. When Brenda first asked me to do this, I'm like, 30 minutes? Oh, man. I just gave you about an hour and a half's worth of information, and we're at 25 minutes right now, I think. So, okay, here's the 4 steps. Let's just take everything I just said. Everybody take a breath, because this is the 4 things that will make you money this year. If your database is a little bit of a mess, okay, this is your chance to clean it up. And this is the way to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Guys, I'm telling you, get uncomfortable. Do not stay where comfortable is. It is not fun when bad things happen. It is okay when bad things happen and you're out of your comfort zone. I literally lived in Lincoln, Nebraska for 6 months in a hospital room with Sonia, doing everything I could to get her to wake up. And I know I did everything I could possibly do for her, right? And I also knew she did not want to continue to live that way. Everybody knows her well enough to know we knew she didn't want to be that way. So we gave it everything we had till the very end. So I was able to do that because my system was running. We did just under 100 sales last year with 2 people, 2. And it goes back to Michael Gerber's system that I'm going to write the real estate version about, is having a system that delivers incredible service and can keep listing houses. And oh, by the way, I'm the only listing guy, okay? There's no replacement. I have 1 buyer's agent and 1 assistant. So we scheduled listing appointments when I came back in town. All the systems ran behind the scenes, and it's all automated. If my team leaves for a week or 2, it doesn't matter. Everything keeps happening. We know right where to pick up. So here's your 4 steps I want you guys to take away from today. It's sending a reconnect letter to your entire database, but you're only going to do it a few at a time because you can't do the rest of the plan in bulk. If you have 150 people in your database, you're only going to do a few of these people each day. Here's the trick. This is the coach in me coming out. I've got to train you just to do 5 a day, 5 a day, 5 a day, 5 a day. I know you want your database cleaned up tomorrow. Well, you're not getting out of real estate tomorrow, and you throwing them all on any kind of follow-up plan all at once today isn't going to find you any more business. If you take 5 today, 5 the next day, it will only take you a month and a half to get through 150 people. It will take you 10 months to get through a 1,000-person database. This is your 10-month program if you've got 1,000 people. But you're going to send a letter that just says, hey, I haven't talked to you in a little while. I'm going to give you a call in a few days. You're going to make a call, you're going to write a note, and start the next plan. We'll go through that one more time in detail so you know what it looks like. But those are your 4 steps. This just shows you what it looks automated. You'll see my computer system, when I pull up a contact record and start the reconnect plan, right? The first thing that's going to happen, you see reconnect letter in that red square box. It says letter, 0 days. And then it says follow-up call on the reconnect letter 5 days later, right? Two down, yep. And then there's just mail a note card. Well, that actually should be the same day as the call. The second item on there would happen 5 days after, and it'd say, did you send the handwritten note? And then the last thing is to set up the 33 touch. Now, I threw in 1 extra step here. I told you 4 steps, and you're looking at 5 going, wait, my brain hurts. There's 5 steps here, right? The last step is an email. I don't like emails, but what this is to go out 7 days after you've done this, just to shoot an email back and see if you've even got the email right. This is called the clean up your database, get my information correct plan, or I call it the reconnect plan. You're going to reconnect with them. So first thing that goes out is a letter. It says, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. I apologize. I'm going to do a much better job of staying in touch. And then P.S., I will be contacting you in the next few days. Guys, the letter is your commitment that you see it go in an envelope to 5 people today, and then you know the system will remind you to make the call 5 days from now, right? So that it's mail time for them to get it, open up the letter, see it, and it's just really a game piece to make sure you make the call. Secondly, pick up the phone and make the call, okay? Just pick up the phone and make the call. That's why you leave the PS in the letter, because it says you're going to call. Okay, you can go to the next one, Brenda. It says, I'm going to call you in the next few days. So how you gain that commitment from them and trust is you do what you say you're going to do. So here's my challenge to you. How well do you know your current database? Do they have dogs? Do they have pets? Do they have a kid that graduated? Is one of them passed away? Are they divorced? Next slide. So when you call, this is the biggest question people have is, well, what's the script when I call? I haven't talked to him in forever. Just use Ford. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Forget about looking for the next deal. You're not even connected with these people yet. You've got to get reconnected to them in their life first. The business calls can come next, okay? Go ahead. Because your system's going to remind you to call them over and over and over again. And then what your goal is to write a handwritten note to them. And try not using the words I, me, or my in it at all. Just say, it was great talking to you today. So glad the kids are doing good. It's so awesome to hear that work's going well. Looking forward to keeping in touch, Brad. And if that's your note, then you connect it, right? If you have to put a business card in there, say, P.S., by the way, if you know anybody else that's buying or selling, That's a business card. You haven't connected with these people yet. Okay, next. So what I'm going to tell you to do is just get this 4-step plan set up in your database no matter how you have to do it. And I'm going to give you a resource site here where you can go to get more information because we're doing this in 30 minutes, right? Just a quick little get you excited thing. Next slide. And to get you excited about your database so you know that you can make money off your database. So here's all you need to do, guys. Use your cell phone to find 5 people a day. Match your cell phone up with your database. Then go to your Facebook friends list and match that up to your database. Synchronize those. You have enough people to be busy for the rest of the year. Compare those 2 lists with your database, see who their friends are, start connecting with their friends list on Facebook. You have an unlimited pool of people for 5 a day, right? 5 a day is what you're looking for. So start with the A in your database and go to Z. Don't stop. Just put the first 5 A's on it today. Start the 4-step plan. Put the next 5 A's on it. Start that 4-step plan tomorrow. Start the next 5 B's 3 days later. Start the next 5 B's 4 days later. Just go through the whole database until everybody's on this plan. You're doing 5 a day. Guys, you can go ahead and the next slide. You will develop the habit of having 2 hours of lead generation every day over time, okay? So here's a resource. Sorry. MakeThePhoneRingAgain.com. MakeThePhoneRingAgain.com. Go there, fill out the free registration form. When you hit submit, put in the notes what you thought about the webinar and what was your best aha or whatever. Give me some, if you have any questions, you can put them in there, which we're going to take questions now for a couple minutes. When you register and once you hit submit, it will take you to a resource page that you can watch a bunch more webinars on this in more detail, okay? I mean, we got 30 minutes. I want you guys to be excited about your database. I want this to be the year you decide I'm going to put 5,000 people in my database. So here we are at the questions. We went through that so fast. I don't know how you want to handle questions, Brenda, or if we're like going to get shut off here and red curtained. But they do have the resource site. They can ask me questions right on there as well.
No, there's no Academy Award music here. We can stay on as long as you can, Brad. I'm available for a little longer.
Awesome.
So first of all, I will share these slides with all of you. So I am going to paste them into the questions field. So it's a big long link. They live in our technology training Google Drive folder. So that means you're going to have to log into Google using your kw.com address. So if you have trouble with that, you can shoot an email to support@kw.com and they can help you get them. And then as far as some specific questions, I don't know if you can see them, Brad, but we've got what database system are you using that sends you the automated notices? That looked like eEdge to me.
Yeah, actually, it looks like most of them. So here's what I challenge people to do. First of all, at KW, we have eEdge available. And, you know, I already know where everything is with that. I'm an agent just like you guys. Here's the thing. You already have a database. What I would challenge people to do, if you don't know what database you're using or you don't have one, get 3 and put 3 people in each one every day for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, you'll figure out which one you like and make that one your database. It doesn't matter which one you use. It matters which one you use, right? So, but I will say there is something to that because the databases that I look at, I need to be able to write a series of events. Hopefully I can customize it. And the biggest thing you want to look out for is the one that will give you the most flexibility on follow-up. Most databases are designed as being, you know, what they're selling us is completely hands-off. So all you can do is go meet more people and find the next person selling, find the next person selling, find the next person selling. And so everything's all automated email, or if it's like a mailing, it usually has to be a fund that you fill into an account and goes to a mail house. And a lot of times for 80% of the agents, they don't keep that fund like full and they don't budget for their mailings properly. So if you have something that will print a letter to your local printer or figure out how to do it, right? Brenda, the biggest thing I can tell you is that I'm on my 9th database. And I've had to trick them all into doing what I want them to really do, okay? There is not one perfect database out there yet, or nobody's ever going to like one 100%, does everything they want to do. But the one that can do customize action plans and print to my local printer that's going to be a hard one to find right there. I like to see the letter, to touch it once in a while and send it out. It's not like I'm doing 1,000 or 6,000 piece mailer every day. I only have 10, 15, 20 people a day that might be spitting out a letter. Now we're at 100 letters a day, but that's like 6,000 people in the database rotating through a follow-up plan of some sort. You probably won't see more than 20, 30, 40 letters printing out in one day until you've really been feeding your database regularly. So I like to see letters print to the printer directly. If something can go to a mail house, that's great. It just can't be done in bulk. This is 5 people a day. Somebody's going to get, 5 people are going to get letter 1 today. 5 people are going to get letter 1 tomorrow. A week from now, the 5 people from today are going to be getting letter 2, while the 5 people I added that day are getting letter 1. So you can't even manually control this. Your brain will explode. You can't do it. So you got to just understand campaigns and action plans and starting them to where they're not bulk. Like, get out of bulk thinking, if I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So if it does text, great. If it sends emails automatically, way better. I mean, the less touches you do on that kind of stuff, the better. But I want it to remind me to make a phone call or remind me to go send them a personal message on social media or to start the next plan or whatever, you know. So, yeah, the one you'll use is really the right answer.
Great. Couple of other questions. A few people have asked specifically about the reconnect letter, if that is something you're willing to share.
Absolutely. It is on the makethephoneringain.com site. When you go there, you fill out, say, free registration. When you put that in, because guess what? I'm going to share more stuff with you when you do that. And when you hit submit, it'll take you to the resource page, and the reconnect letter is on there. In fact, there's also a script on there. I'll make sure the script is on there. It might not be on that page, but you're going to get it from me anyway. But I'll make sure it's on the resource page so you have it. Getting the address from people in general conversation, like are calling in on sign calls and ad calls, how you can convert these leads into met or connected people more quickly and get their address so you can write more notes. Remember, the more notes you write, and the more you have two-way conversations 2, 3, 4 times with the same person over that first, 2 months, 8 weeks, that is going to double or triple your business right there. But it's on the phone and it's the handwritten note are the key things that you know you made the right connection.
Okay. I think we've got time for one more question. And that is, when the reconnect plan is done, what are some sample plans to put people on then?
Great. And I created, you'll have access to this on the resource site as well, just a generic 33 touch. It's generic. Here's the thing you got to keep in mind about these plans, because here's what your brain's going to automatically do. You know, I love when Diana talks about our neurons in our brain, and when we've done something for so long, that neuron is so big and so strong. Anytime you try to add something new, it's hard to make that a habit because the old neuron still wants to take over, right? So what's going to happen is, like, my generic 33 touch has got stupid stuff in it, like chicken soup from the soul stories. And the one thing I love hearing Tony DeCello say, quit sending them recipes. You're a realtor, not a cook, right? And I'm like, I know, it's so awesome, and I have a recipe in my 33 touch plan. The reason why is because 97 of the 100 people I put in my database are going to move in the next 7 years, but they're not moving right now. So when I talk to 100 people during Bold, 20 contacts a day, every day for a week during Bold, 100 people, 3 of them are like, yeah, we're kind of thinking about it, maybe 5. You get 3 to 5 people that are interested. Why do you want to send the other 95 people all real estate stuff? They didn't say they were buying or selling right now. In fact, they told you they weren't buying or selling right now. So this is just a generic, soft follow-up to keep your logo and brand in front of them. However, don't lose sight that some of those calls and those personal contacts in between are to try and move them into being a buyer or seller again. Just because I send them a recipe doesn't mean I'm not selling real estate on those calls. What's great about it, this is the best part about the whole plan, Brenda, is when you just stay in touch with people, you don't even talk about real estate anymore. They talk about real estate. You don't sell real estate is what I should say. Your calls are never about, hey, do you have 2 minutes to give me some help? Because they're going to either call you as soon as they hear somebody talk about real estate, or my system pops up, hey, it's been 90 days since you talked to them. In a 33 touch, we have a call every 3 months that just pops up so we don't lose touch with them. So I might call them at 90 days after the 33 touch plan started, which would be a plan to start them on. And I call them up, hey, what's going on? They're like, oh, Brad, I forgot to call you. Last week, my neighbor in my cubicle was saying that they were frustrated with their seller, and I told it, or their agent, I told them to call you. Did they call you yet? I'm like, no, they didn't yet. And it's like, let me call them today. I'll tell them they need to take your call. Great. What's their name and number? I'll call them. That's what really happens on a daily basis when you stay in touch with people. You're top of mind, and they trust you, and they like you, and that's marketing. So
Perfect. I was just going to say top of mind, that this is all about that, how to stay top of mind so it comes to you.
yeah, so the 8x8, it brands you, it sizzles you in their brain so that if they meet anybody talking about real estate in the next 8 weeks after they've gotten a handwritten note from you and had a good conversation, they're going to think of you, right? The 33 touch is the top of mind plan that keeps you there. So it's not about 8 touches and 33. It's about branding, very consistent, persistent, right on the front end to sizzle you in the brain for the real estate spot. And then the 33 touch keeps you there. Because if you back it off to a 12 touch mailer after that, or even 24, I hear all these people do, well, I got a modified 33 touch. Yeah, what is it? It's once every 2 weeks. Oh, that's a 24 touch, not a 33 touch, right? So it's not about the specific number, but it is about the number. That it's got to be more than 12, it's got to be more than 24, and the more you mix the mediums up, the more you'll cash in on it. It's fun stuff. So yeah, my priority in life was God, my wife, my kids, my dogs, and then the database, right? So that's why I love being on this call today. My kids are in school. The dogs are laying right here on the floor next to me. Thank you for letting me do it as a webinar. And the database is my passion, guys. It's so easy to make unlimited income and be in a new comfortable zone that's way out of your comfort zone right now. And it's easy. I mean, it's really simple, I should say. I shouldn't say easy. Thanks for having me on to share it. I love this stuff, and it is as simple as it sounds.
Thank you so much, Brad. Yes, you were the first one who came to mind when we knew it was time to do something. This is a great time of year, if you haven't done it over the holidays, to really get back in touch with your database. And nobody's as passionate or as effective at it as you are. So thank you for spending this difficult day and all of your passion and knowledge with everybody on the call. You're getting a lot of great compliments coming through here. Okay, so again, the slides I sent out to you in the question field. You've got Brad's Make the Phone Ring Again link. And later on, if you go onto our intranet MyKW, just click the word technology up on the black menu bar. And on that page is a list of all the different webinars we offer, and you'll see where you can get to all the recordings. So this recording will be posted hopefully later this afternoon, if not by tomorrow morning. So thanks again, Brad. It was a pleasure to have you. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Love you too. Bye-bye, everybody.